The beauty of trees has captivated poets, philosophers, and individuals for centuries. Trees are an important part of our environment. They clean the air and water, provide shelter, and some are a food source for people and wildlife. Just as people are different from one another, each tree species has different features. In each of our video programs, we will explore trees and the features that make them unique. Welcome to Washington Park, the first true community park in the city. There are a variety of activities available, including a swimming pool, tennis courts, a band shell, a ball field, a sledding hill, picnic shelters, playgrounds, and lots of open space. There is no shortage of interesting things to do or see in the park. As we begin our tour at the main parking lot entrance near the pool, we see a honey locust tree. The official city tree, the honey locust, is one of the most common shade trees in the city. Since they grow anywhere, offer light shade, require little to no pruning, and have minimal leaf litter, it is easy to understand why this tree is so popular. The leaves of the honey locust are compound, meaning that several leaflets share a single stem. When these leaflets are shed, they are so small that the wind often easily blows them away. In the spring, honey locusts are covered in fragrant cream flowers. As you look at the branches and trunk, you will notice large protective thorns. While not all varieties have thorns, this would not be the tree in which to build your treehouse. Moving toward the tennis courts, the first trees we see to the east are huge silver poplars. You will sometimes hear this tree being called a silver maple, as the lobe-leafed shape is similar to that of a maple. If you look closely at the bark, you will notice its smooth whitish-green color and diamond-shaped dark marks, signs that it is truly a poplar. These trees were widely planted in the city since they have beautiful leaves that are green on top and silver on the underside. They grow very rapidly and are very hardy. The planting of these trees is now banned in the city due to their dark side. The root system allows new little trees known as suckers to spring up in unwanted places. These trees can rapidly take over a yard, neighborhood, or park. Proceeding south along McKinley Street, looking across the flat, we see a large Russian olive with its shaggy bark and silvery foliage. Upon reaching 3 years of age, the trees will begin to produce small clusters of fragrant, creamy yellow flowers. The flowers are later replaced by abundant, hard, olive-shaped fruit. The Russian olive can thrive in most soils and can withstand flooding and drought. Although Russian olives have seeds, they can also produce root suckers and can sprout from the stump after cutting. There are many of these trees in Casper and along the river, as conservation groups and governmental agencies encourage their planting to stabilize soil, improve wildlife habitat, and to serve as windbreaks. In 2007, the tree was added to the noxious weed list in Wyoming and is now illegal to plant anywhere in the state. The same traits that make the Russian olive a hardy tree also make it an aggressive species. Just as animals compete for food and resources, trees and other plants do as well. The Russian olive often wins the space of native trees such as cottonwoods and willows, and they do not improve wildlife habitat as once thought. Although they are difficult to remove, many agencies and individuals are currently trying to replace Russian olive trees with native species. Near the Russian olive, you will also see 2 large native river or black willows. Black willows have compound leaves with finely serrated, long, thin, oval leaflets. The bark is blackish in color and very rough. In pioneer times, the wood of this and other willows was a source of charcoal for gunpowder. Tree willows are often found growing naturally along rivers and drainages as they require moist, sandy soils. Not knowing the history of the park, this may seem a strange place to see willows. But these trees were planted when this area of the park contained a pond. And up until the pond was filled in, they were thriving. The removal of their water source, plus the additional soil, has resulted in destruction of a large portion of their root system. Now these trees are showing signs of decline and decay. We now move on south towards the band shell. Built in the late 1930s, the band shell is the home for the official city band that performs free concerts in the park during the summer months. The first trees we see near the shell are large Siberian elms. These trees were chosen as replacements for American elms, which were wiped out by the Dutch elm disease. Fast-growing and resistant to drought, cold, and Dutch elm disease, Siberians seemed the perfect replacement, and Casper is home to many. However, they lessened in popularity due to their brittle wood, poor shape, and high maintenance. While both American and Siberian elms have serrated oval-shaped leaves that come to a point, the American has a larger leaf. These Siberian elms are now being heavily infested with the elm bark beetle that skeletonizes the leaves. To the southeast of the bandshell stands one of Washington Park's most unique features, a lone blue spruce. What makes this tree special is its distinct lean. Although it appears that the tree might fall over, it is quite sturdy. The prevailing southwest winds may have caused this spruce to grow almost sideways. Looking closely at this tree, you will notice that it's not held up by magic, but by roots which have all grown in the opposite direction of the lean, providing the support that the tree needs. Also, you may notice that the very tip of the tree has begun growing vertically once again, which is an indicator the lean in the tree happened a very long time ago and the tree is coping with it well. Blue spruces are quite variable in color, from a dusty blue to simply green. This is a function of the waxy coating on the leaves and how they reflect light. Unlike pine trees, the needles of the spruce arise from the branch in singles. Papery cones are formed at the tops of the tree, which are dropped at maturity. Surrounding the leaning spruce, we see the common green ash tree. The most common species of ash found in Casper, it has clusters of hanging fruits which fall like helicopters from the tree. With our common high winds, these seeds can travel long distances and often come up as volunteer trees. The leaves are compound with leaflets that are oval-shaped coming to a point. Although the bark of young ashes is smooth, the bark of older trees is rough and looks like it contains a diamond pattern. As we move south along Jefferson Street, we encounter a mix of green ash trees and elms. These elms are true American elms. Like the Siberian elm, American elms have serrated, oval-shaped leaves that come to a point. The trees have arching limbs which form a vase or umbrella shape. Although this tree was largely wiped out by Dutch elm disease, there are still a handful located in Highland Cemetery and along older streets and parks. Unlike the Siberian, American elm wood is very hard and is used in making furniture and flooring. As we cross Jefferson, to the west of the turnaround we see ponderosa pines. The most common type of pine tree in the American West, these pines have clusters of 2 or 3 needles in a papery sheath at the base. The ponderosa forms egg-shaped cones in clusters at the tips of the branches. Shed at maturity, these cones contain seeds which are enjoyed by squirrels, chipmunks, and other small animals. Looking closely at the orange-brown bark, you will notice that it is scaly. It can easily be pulled away from the tree in large pieces that resemble those of a puzzle. The bottom half of these trees are naturally branchless, lending to the tall appearance. The ponderosa pine is one of the most important timber species in the western U.S. The wood is mainly used in the construction of buildings. Although the tree canopy in Washington Park is dominated by mature trees of a few species, each tree is unique. The natural beauty, shade, and food provided by these trees make Washington inviting. As you enjoy the park and its many activities, we hope that you enjoy these trees and their unique features.